wins again in the National Hockey League. Score! The Kings are the 2014 Stanley Cup champions.
Game 5, Stanley Cup final. 2-2 as we start second overtime. Kings win tonight. They win a Stanley Cup championship for the second time in 3 years. Picked up by Martinez. Martinez to Clifford. Feeds it right side to Foley with a shot. Save, rebound, score! Alec Martinez has won the Stanley Cup for the Los Angeles Kings.
Sends it around to the near side of the Chicago zone. Mickle, they push the turnover. Here's Taves and Kane.
2-on-1 the other way. Taves with Kane. Taves to Kane. Score! So the Chicago Blackhawks have eliminated the defending Stanley Cup champion Los Angeles Kings in 5 games here tonight in double overtime by a score of 4-3.
For the first time as a group, we understood what we just lost. After you've kind of won a Stanley Cup, you understand and appreciate what you're actually playing for each and every year.
Whenever you don't end the year with a win, it's a disappointment, especially for the Kings.
They took something from us that, we wanted to keep.
I know everyone was very disappointed in losing the year before, and we wanted to get back there and get another shot at them.
It sucks. It's frustrating we lost. We wanted to get back to that Stanley Cup final. We wanted to win again. To not be successful is tough to take.
Losing to them in 5 games left a pretty bad taste in our mouths, and I think that we carried that into the summer and used that as motivation to work harder and try to get better as a team and work on things that we needed to work on.
Sometimes you have to lose again to remember how hard it was to win, and you keep this bad feeling until you have another go at it.
We felt like our players were ready to go this year. There's been a little bit of a different feeling amongst the guys that it was unfinished business.
I think they wanted to take another step, and it was almost like not proving it to the rest of the league, but proving it to themselves that wasn't a fluke. It wasn't just a team that got on a hot roll.
Well, I think after you've won one cup, that there was no question that their expectations were not only to get back to the conference finals, but get to the Stanley Cup finals.
Prediction time. Everybody loves me doing predictions because 9 times out of 10 I'm right. So let's start. The winner of the Stanley Cup in 2014, the Los Angeles Kings.
With that roster, they're a cup contender every single year. They are a team that could easily win the Stanley Cup again this year.
I think for me, coming in fresh after they had made conference finals, which a lot of teams would be pretty excited about, they weren't really overly excited coming in the meetings to start the season. So you could tell from an early stage that their expectations were, we've got a young core, we want to be in that Stanley Cup final.
We wanted to set targets and goals for the season. Our goal is to get 100 points, and that's what we set out to do from the start.
Kopitar shoots, he scores! Kings win in overtime! Richard shoots, scores! And the Kings win. An impressive performance here tonight. Pass up the middle, saved by Quick.
Jonathan Quick still down. Bobby's getting up slowly.
Well, you would hope it's just a cramp.
Well, I remember the night he got hurt, and obviously it was in Buffalo.
I was at that game, and we were really playing. We were playing so well that I think Jonathan, had maybe 2 saves in the 3rd period. They suddenly had a scoring chance, and he ended up spreading, and he hurt himself.
We weren't sure of the extent of it, so we had to send him back for his MRI.
No one knew how bad it was right away. He flew back to LA, and then we heard that it was going to be an extended period of time, and that's when it really sinks in that he's not going to be around to help the team.
And how it's been going the last 3 or 4 years is we haven't had major guys go down with major injuries, and obviously Quickie going down, that's exactly what that is.
Injury update for you here on Jonathan Quick.
This isn't good news.
Jonathan Quick will not be participating. He's back in Los Angeles. He's got a grade 2 groin strain.
That is a really significant injury for the LA Kings.
The media at that time when Jonathan got hurt wrote us off.
It's not going to be like a couple of years ago when they squeaked into the 8th spot and they ended up winning a Stanley Cup. It's going to be hard to make the playoffs in the Western Conference this year.
When Jonathan Quick got injured, I thought, and I think a lot of other people thought, uh-oh, we're in deep trouble now.
What happened next was something I think none of us anticipated would happen.
Scrivens at point blank. Scrivens with a save again. He is perfect in a King uniform. Shoots and a save. It's a save by Jones, and he falls on the puck. Save by Jones, and he wins his first game in the National Hockey League.
Adversity, that's obviously what it is, and you got to battle through it. And Ben Scrivens and Martin Jones came in, and they were unbelievable.
Who gets the call tonight, and does it even really matter because Martin Jones now and Ben Scrivens have been spectacular in the absence of Jonathan Quick.
You know, not only do we get really good goaltending from both those guys, I thought our team really tightened up and played hard and didn't allow it to be an excuse.
When Scrivens replaces Quick after Quick's injury, Scrivens puts up some numbers that are better than Quick's to start the season. And then when Martin Jones gets the opportunity to play, he puts up better numbers than Scrivens. His 7th NHL start is another win.
You know, he'd win Game 6 and then he'd win Game 7, and the players would be happy that they won the game, but they're coming over and they're piling on Martin Jones because they know what's at stake too. You know, that was my first real sense of what that team was all about.
Had the Kings not received that type of goaltending from both Scrivens and Martin Jones, maybe they don't even make the playoffs.
It's just like in football. I mean, having that backup quarterback that can come in and run that offense and the other guys pick it up a bit, you know, that's critical.
That was a good test for us, and they came through with flying colors.
If you look back at that one specific time, Jonathan's injury actually gave Martin Jones a great opportunity, and he, in a lot of ways, was our most valuable player last year.
Martin Jones has tied an NHL record.
The LA Kings are a really good team. They had a terrific November into December, and then things started to go the other way. They had some scoring problems.
And the Kings, at times, still struggles to score goals.
The goaltending appeared to be back on track with Jonathan Quick returning from his injury. But that yearly nemesis kept rearing its ugly head and a lack of offense.
We know this much. The LA Kings, it's been a struggle. And the old bugaboo is haunting the Kings again. They're not scoring goals.
You know, just before the Olympic break, we did not score a whole lot, and it's never fun to be in one of those slumps.
I remember Justin Williams in the room after one game when we'd been shut out. You know, he just said, guys, you know, don't give up on me, don't give up on us. You know, we're gonna get through this.
Jonathan Quick, Dustin Brown being announced to Team USA. Both those guys were members in 2010 in Vancouver, and it's pretty exciting.
A break away from the game, a break away from the way we've been playing, I think was exactly what we needed.
You know, when Drew was named to Canada's team, he came in that morning that he was named and said, it's pretty cool, I'm going to get to win the gold medal in the Stanley Cup in the same year.
We thought maybe this is good, this Olympic break. It was about 19 days between games.
Now, Jeff Carter starts the tournament on the top line with Sidney Crosby and Chris Kunitz, and it leads to 3 goals. It's certainly the first star for Team Canada in this game.
I think a lot of guys used the break for exactly what they needed. I think some guys got rest and got healthy, and other guys, you know, got a little rejuvenated over at the Olympics.
Look at the heat on this. Captain to captain. Dustin Brown's not going to miss that empty 4x6.
And here comes Drew Doughty right down Broadway and flips it home. How good is that finish?
Dewey had a few, Brownie had a few. I think everyone scored except for maybe Quickie.
You know, we're fortunate enough to have, you know, guys on the gold medal team competing. So, you know, the success that they had in the Olympics, they bring that excitement back to the rest of the team.
Just going to the Olympics was a reset button for me, and I came back feeling a lot better, and I think that can be said for a lot of players.
Right out of the Olympic break, you've got the trade deadline coming up. Everybody is wondering maybe what are the Kings going to do?
How about the LA Kings? We know they need to get some offense, right?
It's a tense time. You know, a lot of rumors flying around and things like that, and you know that something big could happen.
I mean, it's a nervous day for any hockey player.
Dean has a lot of meetings with staff and with coaches, and wanted to know if there was a move to make, what would better the team, and they talked about speed and scoring.
It had to be the right player. Arguably had to be a special player, but you had to ensure you were getting a player that might give you a big payoff.
Marian Gabourik's name comes into play.
What his strengths were, we were lacking.
It was on-off again about 5 times. You know, my first time going through a trade deadline, you think you got them the night before, then you wake up in the morning, there's no chance you're getting them. Then you got them again at 10 o'clock. Now you're not going to get them.
Well, after much toing and froing and back and forth, Pierre LeBrun, the LA Kings
Have acquired Marian Gaborik.
When we heard we had Gaborik, it was exciting. Kind of puts a little pep in your step saying, we feel we can do this again.
You know, anytime you can add a guy like that, you know, just a real pure goal scorer, similar to what we did with Karts, you know, a couple years before, it's huge. It's always a big pickup.
That's so much when you bring in a player, particularly one of that stature. His ability to embed himself in the team isn't so much on him, it's the other 19 guys. And I think we saw that right away, the way these players in the room embraced him. When Gabby got to us, we were on the road. We were on a road trip, and you know, we had a couple of days to hang out and go for dinners and you know have a beer or two. Just figure out what he's all about, and vice versa, you know, him with us.
But if you don't have the right chemistry in the room, it doesn't. All the other stuff is irrelevant. You know, when you bring in a superstar like Gabby, it's about one, making him feel comfortable, but also letting him know this is how we do it here, and either you buy in or you're out.
To the left circle, Gaborik to the net, shoots, scores!
The one thing that I didn't realize, I always knew he was fast, but he's real quick.
You can tell how good he is just by a couple of practices, the way he shoots the puck, the way he skates. You know, those skills that he possesses come to the forefront right away.
To Dean Lombardi's credit, he was able to pull off another great deal without affecting really the core, the nucleus of the team.
I think the whole mindset of the group getting back together was, all right, we're through stage 1 of the season, we're through Olympic break. Now it's time to get after this thing.
Yeah, I just think we ramped it up and realized that we're a very good team with a lot of good players, and we realized we had to step it up. We had to play better.
We went on a pretty good run. I think we won 6 or 8 games in a row after that. Got on a roll. Everyone was feeling confident again.
Right now, you could envision this team being very dangerous come playoff time because they're good at everything. They can score enough. They got the great goaltending and defense. So yeah, but when they're playing like this, you can see them coming out of the West again.
I think over the last 5 years, I think we've had a good sprint to the finish. I think we always finish pretty well. Sometimes it's out of desperation because we dig ourselves a hole, but we've always finished strong, and that's just kind of our mentality.
We were a much different team coming out of that break. I think Darryl mentioned that we had the best record in the league since the Olympic break.
The one thing that we learned 2 years ago is that you know, it doesn't matter where you finish as long as you make it into the playoffs. And once you get into the playoffs, anything can happen.
Loyalty reigns again in the National Hockey League. Score! The Kings are the 2014 Stanley Cup champions.
Two great teams, San Jose, the Los Angeles Kings.
Really hard.
They meet again just as they did last year, and it was an epic series, 7 games last year in the playoffs.
You know, we drew San Jose yet again, a team that obviously we're very familiar with, have developed quite a hatred for each other over the past few seasons.
Personally, I felt that San Jose entering the playoffs was the best team in the NHL on paper.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably one of our biggest rivals, if not the biggest, being Pacific Division rivals for years.
You know, it's a very hostile environment. You know, we felt it through the course of the season. Every time that you go in there, the Beat LA chants are going.
Those fans come there with that passion to
beat LA and eliminate the Kings, because the year before the Kings beat them in Game 7 in LA to knock them out of the playoffs.
This had all the makings of a great series to watch. Two teams that I think a lot of people around the NHL would not have been surprised if they went a long way in the playoffs.
A lot of people were saying whoever gets out of that series is going to win the Cup.
I talked to Daryl near the end of the season, and he said, we haven't been in this situation where we're set in our standings before. We've always been fighting to get in. He was a little worried, a little concerned about how the team would come out, and rightly so.
Top of the circle, sends it across, tip, score! Hurdle! Back comes San Jose, Marlowe in the zone, gets it back and scores!
The Sharks were surgical. The shots they were scoring, I mean, I know Jonathan Quick was allowing all these goals, but it was outnumbered attacks, and they picked corners.
Part of it was them and part of it was us. We didn't play our game.
Burns picked it off and just fired it down into the empty net. 6-3 Sharks.
The second game, the Kings get the first 2 goals and lead 2-0, and I think, okay, we're back on our game. And then they give up 7 consecutive goals, and I couldn't believe it.
What's happening here? They give up, 12, 13 goals in the first 2 games in San Jose, and all of a sudden they're down 2 games to none.
And that the last thing you want to do is go down 3-0 to San Jose. They're too good of a team.
Now picked up by Marlowe, backhander, he scores! And the Sharks take a 3-0 lead.
San Jose wins that game in overtime, so all of a sudden you're looking at a Kings team that's giving up 17 goals in the first 3 games against a very good team, and you're wondering, how is this happening? Why is it happening? And when is it going to end?
Maybe this is the year for the Sharks. They are looking really good right now.
No matter what paper you looked at or internet report or news station, you're down 3-0, the series is over.
We thought this was going to be a grueling series, and the team's going to have to play LA. Even if they win, it's going to be tough.
That's right.
This could be a short series.
Only 3 teams in the long 97-year history of the NHL have ever come from a 3-0 deficit to win a playoff series.
When you talk to the players, the Kings players, they're not phased.
Being down 3-0, now it's our turn to sweep them.
There's a lot of confidence in ourselves and what we can do, and we just hadn't done it yet. We just knew that we had to make a decision right then and there to turn things around.
I think it can be done. It's going to be very hard for sure, but I also think we have the character in this locker room.
We have full confidence we can do it. No one in here is going to tell us that we can't.
We won't go quietly away, that's for sure.
Right side, they come across the line, 3-on-2, a shot, knocked down, score on the rebound.
We didn't have a feeling we had to win 4 straight. We had a feeling we had to win 1 game at home.
They go in the power play. Up to center ice, pass on the right wing side, played by Williams. He shoots and a save. Niemi, rebound, score!
We couldn't worry about Game 7 before we won Game 4.
We will have a Game 5 Saturday night in San Jose.
For me, the turning point in the series was Game 5.
Picks it up, feeds right side to Foley, shot, score! Back to Dustin Brown, a shot save, score!
Game 5, we dominated. I think the score was 3-0, but it wasn't even close. Our team just dominated that game.
I remember coming off the ice and thinking now we have the momentum, but more importantly, they're starting to think maybe they're slipping away.
That was the first time I thought, okay, the Kings are going to win this series.
And I don't think there's any question that there was a lot of doubt creeping into a number of the San Jose Sharks, especially the players that have been there over the years.
Before the series began, most thought it would be physical, which it's been, and most thought it would be a long series. Well, in a roundabout way, it now is as we head into Game 6.
There's no way we were losing Game 6 back at home.
Howdy in the San Jose zone, pass in front, score! Shoots, tipped, and a save. Rebound in front. Score! The Kings score on the rebound. Side to White King. King in front, tips, save, rebound, score! Kopitar! And the Kings lead 3-1. Now picked up left side. Martinez shoots, tipped in front, score! The Kings have stormed back from down 3-0 to tie it 3-3.
And now the series is 3-3. San Jose is so messed up in their head, even though they're going home, that the Kings probably have a good chance to win.
It's up here. It's mentally. You can't take any shortcuts. You gotta almost trick your mind.
They've got to be wondering what's going on. They don't want to have to go through this, be one of the few teams in the league to have to surrender a 3-0 lead.
And I can recall very vividly walking in and seeing the faces of the San Jose Sharks players. Their heads were down, the swagger, the confidence that they had early on in the series. It wasn't there anymore.
And then it's Game 7.
Tonight it's Game 7 between the Kings and San Jose Sharks. Irwin with a shot, score!
And they score first. It really didn't bother the Kings.
Kings with a shot, scored! Doughty ties the score at 1-1.
And then Andrei Kopitar scored his goal.
On right wing, Williams moves into the right circle. Williams centering pass.
When he got the puck, it was like everything stopped. The arena got silent.
Deeks scores! Andrei Kopitar!
That's what great players do. They slow things down at circumstances when it shouldn't be. And he made it look so easy, and he puts it in the back of the net.
We had nothing to lose. They had one game to try and put us away, and they failed to do so.
Pearson to Toffoli, a shot. He scores!
It bounces off the boards in deep. Kings are going to go for an empty net. Score! And the Kings climb to the top of this mountain is complete.
They have won the series after they trailed 3-0.
Did this really happen? Have we just seen something that has been rarely done in not only the NHL, but in sports?
The Kings have done something only now 4 teams in the history of the league have ever done.
And when you start thinking about what was accomplished in that one series, it's absolutely incredible.
Gabrick had said after it was over, he says, when we were down 3-0, you wouldn't have known. You could have guessed we were up 3-0.
I remember getting through security, getting on the bus, and Dean gave me a big bear hug, and those are generally reserved for when we win a big trophy.
Those are those special moments in sports that you can't put a price tag on. It's a sense of pride in those players and to be associated with them.
Going to be fun for all of Southern California. That Kings, they had that royal comeback against the Sharks, setting up a freeway face-off.
It has been 20 years in the making, and now the LA Kings and Anaheim Ducks facing off.
Battle of Southern California. It's the postseason. This is what we wanted to see for the longest time, and now we're getting it.
Second round of the playoffs for the Kings was something Kings fans have been waiting for ever since the Anaheim Ducks came into the NHL in 1993.
And everyone in Southern California had their wish granted. Now you finally have that series, the Kings against the Ducks.
They're led by their 2 big guys in Getzlaf and Perry.
And they're a deep team. Their defense is solid. They're at the President's Trophy heap for a good reason.
There's no rivalry until you play in the playoffs, and it's not really a rivalry until we go through the battle against them, and we did.
Gave it to Gabrick, moves in front, centers, Martinez scores!
That blew my mind away when, we went down there for the first 2 games, and literally half of Honda Center was Kings fans, and during the game at some point they were a lot louder than Duck fans, so it was kind of surreal.
If you're an Anaheim Duck player, it's probably a bit annoying to be in your home building and have the opposing team chant.
And once you score a goal on a road, you usually like to have it quiet. It certainly wasn't that.
Gabrick, first game. 7 seconds left with a tie, maybe a little bit less.
8 seconds left. Hiller on the doorstep. They score! The opportunity out in front.
And then, in overtime,
now in front, Kopitar centers, score! Deflected in front. Marian Gabrick has won the game in overtime.
So Gabrick, who was obtained at the trade deadline, gets 2 very important goals for the Kings, and the Kings lead the series 1-0.
Ante Kopitar. Marion Gaborik walks in. He scored!
Game 2, it wasn't like we outplayed them by a wide margin. We came home with a 2-0 lead, but I don't think any of us were kidding ourselves that we were the better team in both those games.
They win the first 2 in Anaheim.
It can't get any better than this. You've won 2 on the road. All you need is 2 more wins. You don't have to win again in Anaheim to win the series.
From Staples Center in downtown Los Angeles, the Kings look to go up 3-0 against Anaheim. To the right side, Getzlaf, a shot, blocked in front, shot, score! On the loose puck by Perry. One passes at the goal line, now it's centered, score!
Terrific atmosphere at Staples Center. Now Bonino walks in for a chance, out in front, they score!
3 games into the inaugural playoff rivalry, the home team is 0-3.
When they lost that first game at home, that was the end of a 6-game playoff winning streak for the Kings. Then they lose the second game when a rookie goaltender, John Gibson, comes in, shuts out the Kings 2-0.
It was 20-year-old John Gibson who got the nod against the Kings in Game 4, stopping all 28 shots he faced.
It's tied 2-2, and we're going in the ring with it, or we've had some success.
Game 5 of the first postseason freeway faceoff. Bonino, he scores!
Solani moves behind the net, he centers in front, score! Smith-Pelly scores!
Ducks win it 4-3 with a chance to close out the series at Staples on Wednesday.
And the Ducks are now up 3-2.
The Ducks are now 1 win away from the Western Conference Finals.
It's pretty simple for the Kings. They need to win too. They need to win at home, and they need to win here again to advance in these playoffs.
We blow 3 games in a row, and all I can say is we didn't doubt each other, ourselves at that point. I know Karts is going to show up. I know what Rick's going to do. I know what Kopi's going to do. I know what Johnny's going to bring to the table. You trust in each other.
We just found ourselves with our backs against the wall, and there's really no other choice but to win those games and start playing Kings hockey.
And it's just the belief within the room, and it doesn't matter who you're playing against. You're playing at home, on the road. You got to get ready for one game and force Game 7.
Off a couple of sticks out in front, they score! Justin Williams out to center ice. Lewis with a shot. They score!
And then in the third period, what I remember was Jonathan Quick coming up huge on 3 or 4 occasions to preserve the win.
The LA Kings have forced Game 7.
Now they have to go in Anaheim for Game 7 and see if they can pull off another road victory.
Now they've got you where they want you. In your place on the road, Game 7, and they kind of like it that way.
The first freeway face-off is going to an ultimate Game 7.
Momentum has shifted back and forth between these 2 rivals.
The Ducks and the Kings meeting in the playoffs for the first time ever, so why not treat the Southland to a Game 7?
Our guys were so excited to play that game. They were so focused on what had to be done.
They're 5-0 in elimination games in just this postseason alone, but in order to advance, the Kings have to win 1 more.
Game 7, Kings and the Ducks, and we are underway.
Bueno, caught off by Gibson, they score!
You want to get the first goal, and for us to come out and do that right away, I think it was Willie. Came out, scored right away. That's huge.
From the drop of the puck, they were the better team.
Carter, in on goal, Deeks scores!
Kart's got a great goal, and Richards had another one.
Rebound, score! Mike Richards!
I think Quick had to make 1 or 2 big saves early.
Penalty shot, Corey Perry.
Forced wide!
That first period was about as picture perfect as you could imagine a Game 7 road period to be.
And it gets up to 4-0.
He scores!
It's not over, but it's over.
Gaborik, shot, score!
And the atmosphere in that building was much the same it was in San Jose. The fans are dumbfounded. They can't believe that the Kings came in and dominated that game the way they did.
Score! Tanner Pearson, 6-2 Kings.
You look around the building there in Anaheim, a lot of Kings fans there.
The Los Angeles Kings will advance to the Western Conference Finals.
just the excitement that they had. It was a magical moment. This was going to be history.
Winning on the road's special. It's not easy to do. It takes 23 guys to win on the road, and you know that night we had 23 guys.
The Kings have now beaten their two closest rivals, San Jose in a Game 7, in Anaheim in a Game 7, and now go on to the Western Conference Final for the third year in a row.
Loyalty reigns again in the National Hockey League. Score! The Kings are the 2014 Stanley Cup champions.
It's certainly deja vu all over again in the NHL playoffs. Not only is the Western Conference Final an exact rematch of last year's between the Blackhawks and Kings, this is LA's third straight trip to the league's Final Four, and the fourth time in 6 years Chicago has been there.
We knew that the road was going to go through Chicago. We knew that you had to play these guys to get through.
It was almost like this was what we've been waiting for all year.
They're the defending Stanley Cup champions, probably the favorite of the remaining 4 teams to win again.
It's a very, very skilled team that has won, team that has all the experience, but so do we.
You got Doughty, they got Keith, they got Taves, you got Kopitar, they got Kane, we got Gabrick. You go right down the line, 1 through 20. Every part of our team's very similar. You knew you were probably headed for another 7-game series.
They had what we wanted, so I mean, I guess it really doesn't get much bigger than that.
And from the United Center, the Los Angeles Kings meet the Chicago Blackhawks.
One of the most electric buildings in the National Hockey League, and maybe of all sports. They are about 22,000 strong in the United Center there, and those fans are big supporters of that hockey club.
And the building is loud, and it's intimidating right from the national anthem at the start when everybody is screaming and hollering and on their feet.
It's Game 1 of the Western Conference Final. This best-of-7 series features the past 2 Stanley Cup champions.
Here's Leddy with a shot. He scores! 3-on-1. Delayed penalty coming up. Score! Jonathan Payne!
In Chicago, quickly off to a 1-0 series lead with a 3-1 win.
And in the second game, Chicago scores the first 2 goals. So it doesn't look good for the Kings. The Kings score the next 6 goals.
Williams, and a score! Doughty, a shot, score! Buzzard with a shot, score!
In the third period, Jeff Carter gets a hat trick.
Jeff Carter finishes the 2-on-1 break. Carter empty net shot, and he scores!
I think that's where the whole momentum changed as the Kings rallied to win that game.
From downtown Los Angeles and Staples Center, it's Game 3 of the Western Conference Final. Cousin shoots, scores!
They go out and win games 3 and 4 at Staples and take what would appear to be a commanding 3-1 lead against the defending Stanley Cup champions.
So the Kings have won both home games here in the Western Conference Final. Now won 3 straight. They can wrap it up Wednesday night in Chicago.
They're looking so similar to the team that won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago. LA looks very, very good right now.
You always get a team's best, especially championship teams, when they have left to win or go home, and we knew Chicago wasn't going away easy.
They're down 3-1. We're trying to squash them, and they're going to try and get some life.
There's a reason why they were Stanley Cup champs. They have a lot of character and a great leadership group over there as well.
And we're not going to stop working. We're not going to stop trying. It's as simple as that. We're a confident group here. I mean, we're not out of the series yet. It's 3-1. They got to win another game, and it's not going to be easy.
From the United Center in Chicago, it's Game 5 of the Western Conference Final.
Fire saved by Cook and another stop. Brown with a shot block, comes in front, and then it's knocked in.
When I thought we had them on the ropes in Game 5, and they find a way to get the overtime goal, and that's what playoff hockey is about, was big goals at big times.
Shot across the Hunters, he scores!
How often does it happen that an ex-King comes back and beats you in a playoff game? Michael Hansus scores the winning goal, and now Chicago knows they're right back in the series.
Then the series comes back to Los Angeles for game number 6. Kings have a lead in the third period, and as it turns out, Chicago was able to tie it.
Duncan Keith has tied the game at 3.
Again, Patrick Kane comes through with a huge goal.
Patrick Kane has given the Blackhawks the lead.
And that's the game winner to force Game 7. As that series unfolded, everybody felt that this is really the Stanley Cup final. I mean, these are the two best teams.
So now, for the third consecutive series, the Kings are facing a Game 7 on the road in another very, very tough building in which to win.
It looks like the Kings are just going to have to win another Game 7 on the road.
Game 7, we've had 2 chances to close out this series, and we're not going to blow the third one. We're definitely not making it easy on ourselves, but we have a great group with a lot of character in here, and I'm confident.
Doesn't get much better than a Game 7 as a player. I mean, that's a game that you want to play in.
If you look at their record, I think they had lost maybe 1 or 2 home playoff games in the last 2-3 years.
It's Game 7 of the Western Conference Final between the Los Angeles Kings and Chicago Blackhawks. Now Kane feeds it, side of the net, score! Side!
I took a penalty, and Tay scored to make it 2-0.
Seabrook with a shot in front, Kane scores!
And the Blackhawks get the first 2 goals of the game, once again, about 3.5 minutes apart, and it doesn't look good for the Kings.
And I was sitting in the box saying, no, this can't be it. This can't end this way.
Back come the Kings, and on left wing, Brown, a shot, save, rebound, score! With a shot, save, rebound, score! Justin Williams!
We had the momentum, we snatched it right back pretty quick, and then they come back 10 seconds later and score a goal.
And now the Blackhawks come right back and take a 3-2 lead.
There's a lot of situations in that Game 7 where, you could just turn and say, this is great, we had a great run, but it's just not meant for us. There wasn't any of that.
We are tied at 3. Feet to his left, and drive by Short. He scores! A rebound, score!
Marian Gaborik bangs in a rebound, and now Game 7 is going to overtime.
We start overtime here in Game 7 in Chicago.
Going to overtime, it was some of the best hockey I've ever seen.
What you saw was 2 of the top teams in the league playing full out, nobody holding back.
There were a lot of chances. There were a lot of chances for both teams.
You wonder after the first 2 series that we have if we still had enough, if we had one more, a little bit of magic left in this miracle season, in this miracle playoff run.
It started in our own end. Greener made a great breakout pass to Justin Williams there.
Here's Justin Williams.
I was able to make a play and get it inside.
Williams moves it into the corner.
I dumped it in. Stoli had a great forecheck.
I just saw Justin Williams went behind the net.
Then he moved it up to Marty, and I'm just thinking, well, Marty's got the hot hand. This is going to go in.
And when we had a chance to go low to high in the offensive zone, my only thought was this one needs to get through to the net.
I remember thinking when Williams made the pass that Martinez will have a shot. I don't know how effective a shot it will be, but he's got some time. He's got some space.
And Marty started to the middle, and then he cut back to his left to try and create a shooting lane because the forward was trying to get in the lane to block the shot.
Justin was able to give it to me at the point, and I just tried to change the angle and get it on net.
Martinez is always ready to shoot. I love that about him. He doesn't hesitate, and he pulls the trigger.
Goal in on Kruger with a bump. Williams in for the puck, feeds it out to Martinez. Martinez with a shot. Tip, score! Kings win the game! The Kings are going to the Stanley Cup Final! Remarkable! Incredible! Unbelievable!
I was in front of the net when Marty shot that puck, and just to see the mesh move behind me was one of the better feelings I've had.
Well, I didn't really know it went in right away. And all of a sudden, Stoll in front just started going crazy. So I kind of had that split second where I didn't really know if it had happened or not.
And then all we see is like the team, like the 5 guys on the edge, they're jumping. What a feeling it was.
Just watching him
and the emotion of his teammates jumping over the boards. That was just a great, great moment.
The Kings are leaping around the ice, celebrating their third consecutive Game 7 win on the road. That's never been done before in NHL history.
Any kid that's picked up a hockey stick in his driveway has played out that scenario in his mind and has scored that goal. And, you know, it's definitely something that I'm going to remember a long time.
There's no words that kind of can describe it because it was such an emotional series, an emotional goal, emotional moment.
After Alex scored that goal, we knew we were 4 wins away from where we wanted to be.
And that was one of the biggest goals probably in LA Kings history.
Loyalty reigns again in the National Hockey League. Score! The Kings are the 2014 Stanley Cup champions!
Hollywood versus Broadway, East versus West, a marketing dream come true for the NHL as the Kings will face the Rangers in the Stanley Cup final.
The final series is probably one that everybody was looking forward to. First ever time that Los Angeles and New York have met in the Stanley Cup final.
East Coast, West Coast, LA, New York. It's great for hockey when you have two big markets like that.
Having the two big cities involved, it certainly was something we were very excited. I know the league was excited.
The Stanley Cup final, it seems to be the NHL's dream. New York, Los Angeles.
Two major markets, two star-studded teams. New York Rangers came out of nowhere to get to the finals.
They were built a lot like a Western team with big forwards that could skate. They had some defensemen that could really move the puck. They had a great goaltender.
They're really well coached, great goaltending. Their speed was right there with us.
Another new challenge. You know, here you are the favorite and you're opening up in your rink, haven't been there before.
Now they're starting at home and they're the favorite. I don't think there's any question. That's a different mindset. There was a lot of hype.
From Staples Center in downtown Los Angeles, it's Game 1 of the Stanley Cup final between the Los Angeles Kings and the New York Rangers. First time the Kings and the Rangers have ever met in the Stanley Cup final.
Well, we were down early again in Game 1. Not something we expected. You know, we thought we were going to have a great start in our building and our fans behind us.
Richards slipped a check, threw the puck back towards the blue line. Doughty tried to reel it in and couldn't. Here's a chance for Benoit Pouliot. He scores!
Their first goal is a direct result of a bad decision. A very bad decision.
Pouliot shoots and scores!
Drew Doughty tried to make a play at the blue line. He got stripped of the puck, and the Rangers scored on a breakaway. Drew knew it was a mistake. Everybody knew it was a mistake.
The best way to explain our team mentality is Drew Doughty. And he wasn't worried about it. Then he makes probably maybe one of the best plays in all the playoffs.
First period, here is Justin Williams for the Kings.
I passed it up to him at the blue line. He threw it through his legs. I made a couple of shimmy shakes.
The only way he can get by the defender is by going between his own legs. At the same time, you can't slow down too much, otherwise the back pressure is going to catch you. So he keeps his momentum going forward. And this is all in a, second and a half here.
Dropping it off for Doughty. Doughty moves in on goal. Doughty shoots.
You see the goal like that and how fired up he was. That's contagious.
But I think he's the best defenseman in the world, and to be able to pull off a play like that with the skill that he has is pretty neat, and then to be able to finish it and score, and we feed off that.
Unbelievable play through a leg, something I would never even try. I'd probably fall on my face.
I'm not any way surprised what he did. This is what he does. I just shake my head in amazement, but not in shock. It's more like, yep, he did it again.
That's an elite play. There's not many guys can do that even in practice.
And goals like that can inspire not only a player, but an entire team.
I remember talking just before OT. Willie leaned over to me. We're sitting right next to each other in the locker room. He said, I've never had a playoff OT winner. I think I just told him, well, now it's a good time to do it.
I just remember both teams kind of in OT kind of feeling each other out, and there wasn't too much action going on.
Really a harmless-looking play. The puck is dumped into the Rangers' end.
Mike Richards, I think he wants to change on the play, but he just senses that danger factor. He just senses it. And when you look at it, he kind of waits and he hesitates, and Girardi throws it right up the boards, right to Richards.
Girardi with it. He fell down, turned it over.
If he goes for the change, it's out of the zone, nothing happens.
When Mike got the puck, it was just kind of right in line with all of us, and immediate thought was, does he see Willie? Can this play get to Willie clean? And let Willie do the rest.
As I saw the same thing that Richards was seeing, I just stayed in front of the net.
Mike just takes a quick peek, and he sees Justin Williams to his right between the circles, and he's open.
I knew when Stick got it in the slot there, it was going to the net.
And now Girardi with it. He fell down, turned it over. In front, Williams. Shot!
That shot was incredible. It was perfectly placed. I think it went right in and the elbow. You probably couldn't have picked a corner anymore without actually hitting the post.
And how quickly Williams gets it, turns, and releases without giving away anything. So deceptive.
The guy just got a knack for goal scoring, and those guys, they exist, and you don't know how they do it. They see things that you don't.
Just Willie doing his thing. There he is, the gunslinger. You know, time and time again, you just shake your head. Does it surprise you? No, but as you say, amazing.
Justin Williams, who's had so many big Game 7s in his playoff career, now has a big Game 1.
But Justin Williams in Game 7s historically and throughout his career in all big games, big moments, was on a stick very short time, and he was putting that top shelf on Lundqvist. Was pretty amazing.
It's great to see because the excitement and the smile on his face and everything. It was just it was fantastic.
I immediately jumped on and went to him, and I told him that I told him so that he was going to do it.
Justin Williams wins Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final in overtime for the Kings.
Loyalty reigns again in the National Hockey League. Score! The Kings are the 2014 Stanley Cup champions.
Kings and Rangers back at it again tonight at Staples Center.
The Kings looking to protect their home ice advantage and send the Rangers back to New York down 2-0.
We've been down 2-0 our last 2 games, and we have a lot of things to clean up.
The best thing is to keep the puck in the offensive zone.
You want to establish how you're going to play early and carry that through for a full 60 minutes.
Like most games in the playoffs, Game 2 was kind of a carbon copy. The opposition comes out, and the Rangers are flying.
I mean, we're talking about it before the game. Good start, and we don't really get off to a very good start.
McDonough takes a shot, he scores!
Pouliot trying to dance free, it's thrown over for a shot! Rattle, score! Zuccarello!
The Rangers have now taken a 2-0 lead.
Flung one out in front, and Quick had to block that. Taken by Dorsett, wraparound fails, blocked by Quick.
We knew when we get down a couple goals, Quickie was going to shut the door, and we were going to have a chance.
With Quickie making big saves, so we're not down 3-0. We're down 3-0. We're probably not coming back.
It seems like this day and age, 2 goal deficits don't seem insurmountable.
And the shot was on goal, and the rebound fed back, and another shot, score!
Mitchell with a shot, score!
Timely goals, timely saves, and you need that. You need your big guys who are counted on to score goals, and guys that play on the power play to create some stuff, create momentum, and get your team back in games.
The Kings chipped away. New York would get a goal back, regain either a 1 or a 2 goal advantage. And finally, the Kings were able to tie it up in the 3rd period and force overtime.
Cross ice, Green with a shot, score!
Shot down by McDonough, battled for by Gaborik, he scores!
Marian Gaborik has tied the game here the Stanley Cup final goes to overtime.
You know, one shot, one goal is going to end this game, and either the Kings have a 2-0 lead or the series is tied at 1, headed back to New York.
You got to battle through it, and at that point, it's a mental game. You know, the strength that you need mentally, and physically, obviously, you know, you want to push yourself to the brink.
There gets to a point where you're taking shifts that are maybe 20 seconds long.
You run on adrenaline, you know too that if you keep pushing, you know they got to be just as tired.
So nothing decided in the first overtime here in Game 2.
You really wonder, as you see the players come out of the dressing room and down the hallway, how much do they have left? It has been a grueling playoff year.
In overtime, you try to shoot the puck at the net.
Ian McDonough, first man back. Brown right on it.
Just chipped it in, got on a forecheck, and I went low to high to Mitchie. Being the player that I am, I threw it where he couldn't really receive it very well. I remember that. He's a lefty, and I threw it on the right side. And he tried to throw it to the net, and I just kind of circled high and went to the net.
Andre's got the puck and really doesn't have an option in front of the net, so he feeds it out to Willie Mitchell on the left side. Willie Mitchell had some time. You know, when Willie has some time and space, he's got a pretty good shot.
Willie Mitchell scored a goal from the same spot, just on the other end, maybe an hour earlier.
And I had worked my way down to the net. I think I was tied up there with McDonough in front, and I saw Mitchie kind of getting the puck, so I started skating, you know, from the crease out towards him.
Out to Willie Mitchell. Willie Mitchell holding, throws it at the net. It's blocked. Picked up Kopitar. Kopitar now outside the left circle, out to Willie Mitchell with a shot. Score! The Kings win it in overtime again. An apparently screened Henrik Lundqvist, and Brown deflects it with the blade of his stick.
Because he had, I think, that split second to look up and figure out maybe where he should put the shot, that gave some of the forwards as well time to get in position for a deflection. And as it turned out, it was Dustin Brown.
It was a different style tip. Most times you guys are tipping pucks down on that. It's like he kind of rolled it. It's very difficult to do.
Just saw it go in the net. You realize it had to have been from Brown. He tipped it, you know, had to get misdirected somehow, and for him to get a piece of it.
I just remember the building erupting because fans down at that end of the ice, they're screaming and hollering and jumping, and what a great, great feeling to know you've won both at home.
The funniest thing I remember about that is his reaction after with his stick. He kind of just throws his stick. I noticed it right away, but I didn't think it was really funny until I saw it on the highlights.
It's very tough to come back from 2-0 in a series. You know, we did it. I think the percentages are pretty low, and that would happen. So, yeah, we needed those big goals.
That game, as it turns out, marked the third straight playoff game where the Kings rallied from a 2-goal deficit and go on to win. And I don't think that's ever been done before in Stanley Cup playoff history. So, again, we're seeing more history being made by this 2014 edition of the Kings.
The Kings win Game 2 in overtime.
Loyalty reigns again in the National Hockey League. The Kings are the 2014 Stanley Cup champions. From Madison Square Garden in New York City, it's Game 4 of the National Hockey League Stanley Cup Final. The Kings lead the series 3-0 and can win their second Stanley Cup in 3 years with a victory in this game.
Well, the Kings go into Game 4 thinking one more win and they've got another Stanley Cup.
Back to the blue line. Shot from there is scored! Tipped in. Now back over the step end with a shot tipped in front and score!
Kings get a big goal here. Dustin Brown, they're back within one.
There were a couple of very good opportunities for us to score, and one of them is still very vivid in my memory.
He was trickling behind him at the goal line.
How that puck does not propel forward, it's unbelievable.
Twice in that game, the Kings have shots that come right to the goal line, and the puck stops because of the snow buildup.
Martinez spins, shot, save is made. Lundqvist, it's still loose. They jab at it. Finally, we get the whistle.
The puck squeaking in behind Henrik Lundqvist and just sliding towards the net.
I've never seen that before. I've never seen the puck stop right at the goal line twice in a game.
That's 2 pucks that have gone to the goal line. Kings have been unable to get their stick on.
You know, it sucks. We should have put those in the net. They're just laying there right there.
You know, it's a game of inches sometimes, and that didn't go our way.
And the game is over, and the Rangers avoid elimination.
We've been on the other end of the spectrum of being down 3-0, and all you need is a little life. All you need is something to make yourself feel good that you have a chance, and they got that in Game 4.
It's just the way the game goes sometimes. We're going back home. That's where we won it last time, so hopefully we can do the same thing here.
Game 5 Friday night at Staples. Kings with a chance to win the Cup at home.
Now the Kings have a chance to come home and close this thing out on their home ice.
After winning the first 3, they lose Game 4, but they'd like to change the trend Friday night at Staples Center.
Kings fans very confident that they'll rebound and wrap up the Cup in Los Angeles.
From Staples Center, home of Los Angeles Kings, welcome to Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals. The Kings lead the series 3 games to 1.
You want to do it in front of your fans.
Yeah, you could feel that energy. You could feel it. They wanted to celebrate as well.
Kings win tonight. They win a Stanley Cup championship for the 2nd time in 3 years.
You know, I remember some guys talking that we need this to be over tonight. We got to find a way to get this win and pour everything out tonight.
We didn't want that one to slip away from us. We weren't going back to New York.
That's the blue line shot by Mitchell in front. Loose puck, still loose, and scores! Kings, Justin Williams gives the Kings a 1-0 lead. Richard, pass on the right side. Now in front, score by Ryder. And he ties the game at 1-1. Here is Boyle looking for a shot, and he scores! And Brian Boyle put the Rangers ahead 2-1 with a short-handed goal. So again, the Kings have to come back and tie the game.
Winning the 3rd down goal, and knew that it was going to take a special play.
Carter's pass, right side, Doughty shoots, score! The Kings tie the game on the rebound. Gabrick tipped it in.
Marian Gabrick, that great acquisition that Dean Lombardi made, he gets his 14th goal of the playoffs, and he ties the game.
Gabrick tied it with his 14th of the playoff, and we're headed to overtime. McDonough shoots, hit the post. Kings with a shot, hit the post and stayed out. Kings inches away from winning the game.
2-2 as we start 2nd overtime.
The tanks are low. You're looking for that little bit of extra energy that's going to make you beat your opponent.
The game is getting longer and longer, and fatigue obviously does become a factor.
Somebody score. I think that's what was one of the things that were said. Somebody score this goal here.
Matt Green makes the great play in front defensively. The puck just ended up in a corner, and I just tried to jump on it.
I recall Marty picking the puck up in his own zone, turning the corner around one of the New York players, and felt at that point he's got good legs on this one. He can drive up ice on this.
I remember thinking to myself, there's a lot of ice there. And he passed it across to Kyle Clifford.
Passed the puck over to me, and I passed it over to Top.
I saw an opportunity to join the rush there.
And the shot is taken by Toffoli. Lundqvist makes the save with his right pad, but he can't control the puck. And it skids out on the rebound to Martinez.
You know, it happened so fast, I just tried to get a stick on it and try to get it on net.
I think everybody in the building knew that once that puck wound up on Alex's stick, he wasn't going to miss it.
And brought back up to center ice. Here on the left side, Martinez over to Clifford. Right side, shot from there, and a save, and a rebound.
the whole bench just erupted. It felt like the roof was going to come off the building.
You know, his celebration, I think, said it all. Let's go. It's party time.
I think I blacked out. I don't remember. I tossed my stick, I tossed my gloves, and just an unbelievable, overwhelming rush of emotion.
Trying to get on the ice as quick as possible and jumping over the boards. 20 guys just trying to jump over the boards at the same time. It's a tough beat.
So I tried to hop back over the bench. I think I ended up almost toe picking just right on my face.
And I just beelined it as quick as I possibly could right to the pile. It's just pure joy.
I remember just seeing Marty's gloves in the air. You know, the building was just going crazy.
A game-winning goal to win the Stanley Cup. I mean, how fast are you going to skate to get out there? You don't know where to go to Quickie or to go to Marty. I think Quickie was already down the ice, so I went there.
So my favorite part was Quickie having to skate all the way out. You watch it, and about every 25, 30 feet, he's losing a piece of gear. Those moments are always cool.
I remember Quickie's coming down the ice and throwing his gloves, and I thought he was going to hit the scoreboard.
Find somebody that you've just gone through one of the toughest things in your life and hug like crazy. It was just awesome.
You can never, ever capture that feeling. That's what makes sports so special. That's what you can't put a price tag on.
And as soon as Martinez put that puck in, it was just, you know, just the sudden rush of emotion and the celebration of everyone in our corner. And it was just, you know, we just hugged each other.
Yeah, I remember I was just screaming and yelling, and everyone's giving me a face wash, and which was just, you know, stinky hockey hands, sweaty hands in my face.
Vince Lombardi's line about, you know, reaching the ends of your limits, and the greatest feeling is lying there exhausted, victorious. It's clearly there. Because I don't think another sport does an athlete pay a bigger price for a championship than a hockey player.
I can't imagine what it would feel like to score an overtime game winner to win the Stanley Cup for your team. What Alec did in the past two series was amazing, and I can't believe how he must feel, because we felt so good. He must have just been on cloud 10, because we were on cloud 9.
Here's Alec Martinez, the first player in the history of the NHL to score the game-winning goal in overtime in the conference final and the game-winning goal in the Stanley Cup final to win the cup for the Kings.
It's what you dream of as a kid, having the game on the line, and you have a chance to win it, and he went out and won it.
To see that puck going in that might have been the most exciting thing that I've seen in my lifetime in the game of hockey.
That's what happiness is. And so when you see that moment and guys hugging each other, that's what's going on down there. And that don't happen a lot in life, where you put 20 guys together and they're truly happy. There's no agendas. We've been through a war and we accomplished our goal.
Loyalty reigns again in the National Hockey League. Score! The Kings are the 2014 Stanley Cup champions.
I've said this many times. Justin is the most underrated player on our team by a mile. He doesn't get enough credit for what he does.
He's just a competitor. His personality, I think, just pulls everybody into the fight.
Justin Williams was so valuable, as he always is in the playoffs. Gets the big goal, whether it ties the game or wins the game.
He was the guy. He was, you know, the difference maker in a lot of games for us.
Gets it to Regehr, he shoots, tipped and a save, rebound, he scores! Justin Williams is there again!
You need results. That's a guy that can, he delivers every time.
Picked up by the Kings, in deep, here's Williams, pass in front, score!
Just Justin Williams coming up real big for us in a big moment.
Right in front, a beautiful pass to Kopitar.
Set up by Justin Williams.
Clearly, Willie's rising to the occasion at big moments. I mean, we all know his numbers. But again, you just shake your head and say it's amazing what he can accomplish.
This is the guy you want on your side if you're going into the trenches for a game number 7. But Justin Williams is money.
Yeah, he really is.
You know, he doesn't have Mr. Game 7 nickname for nothing.
They can't clear. Held in. Point shot save. Score! Mr. Game 7, Justin Williams.
Quote unquote, Mr. Game 7. I know he hates that.
On the spot in a Game 7 again. It's Justin Williams.
I know Justin has said, since he's come up with so many big Game 7s in his career, that he hates the name Mr. Game 7.
Justin Williams does it again. It's his 7th goal in a Game 7.
Why don't we say Mr. Not So Good in Games 1 through 6?
We'll call him whatever he wants to be called.
Oh, you can call me Justin.
Jason Williams.
Justin Williams.
Justin, sorry.
I don't know what happens in Game 7s. I feel like it's a lot of good fortune. I've been able to hit the score sheet and help the team, but collectively it's all of us rising to the challenge when our backs are against the wall in Game 7.
Mr. Game 7, Justin Williams, was Mr. Game 1 tonight.
Justin Williams, who's had so many big Game 7s in his playoff career, now has a big Game 1 in the Stanley Cup final.
In Game 5, in the first period, a writer from Orange County, Mark Wicker, asked me, who's your pick for the Conn Smythe? I said, well, my pick is Justin Williams. He said, I agree with you.
The Conn Smythe Trophy goes to the most valuable player in the playoffs, who happens to be the leading scorer in the Stanley Cup final, Justin Williams.
Hearing that was pretty special to me. What was even more special was seeing my teammates and how happy they were for me and getting the ovation that they gave me, and that made me feel special and part of a cause.
There's no words that can describe what you're feeling right now and what we went through this year. Makes it so much more special.
I don't think he maybe expected it, to be honest. I really don't think he expected it, and that's just the kind of guy he is.
Willie, as humble as he is, did not see it coming. You know, I think he put that Conn Smythe trophy away pretty quick because, you know, he's a team guy, he's an ultimate guy, and, you know, he wanted to get his hands on the other prize.
I don't even think he hoisted it. He just, you know, basically showed it to us. That's the kind of teammate he is. He wanted to make sure that we knew that, you know, it was us two that got him this trophy, and I know that's the way he thinks.
He always carried us, and he always scored the one goal or made the one play that it was big.
This guy's in on every single big goal. Every big goal that happened throughout the playoffs, he was in on. When the stage is big, he stepped up huge for us, and I think it was just really happy to see him win it.
And he's a very special athlete, and it's one of those cases where, you know what, the numbers do back up the players. When you're doing it in that role, at that level, at those moments, you can't fluff your stats there. That is real stuff.
I see the Conn Smythe and I brought it home, and I looked at the names on that and how I looked up to many guys on that trophy. For me to think that I'm going to be on there is, you know, I hate the word, but it's very surreal, and, you know, I feel like it's somebody else's and I should give it back because I don't really feel like it's true.
Kings have won the 2014 Stanley Cup in double overtime.
It's always a thrill when you win the cup to see the cup paraded out on the carpet out to center ice.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Stanley Cup.
That scene never, ever gets old.
It's such an impressive trophy, and it kind of, for me, it represents the history of hockey.
I don't know, I think it's the best trophy in sport, really. It's so shiny and you can drink out of it. That's the best part, probably.
Cup comes on the ice. I love to just sit back and watch the players and see their reaction and see how they embrace that whole experience, because you push them so hard all year and they go through so much.
to have that opportunity, to me, is the most rewarding time as a coach.
To have the second time have it in LA at Staples Center, coming at center ice, and to know what it means to so many people, I just think it's the most incredible thing.
We were all lined up on the blue line, and I remember Phil Pritchard bring it in and put it down on the table, and Gary Bettman started his speech.
For the second time in 3 seasons, it's my honor to present it to Dustin Brown.
See him lift that is just a representation of our team and how hard we worked and how hard he worked for the goal that we wanted to accomplish as a group.
Winning it once, you're so over the top excited about it, it goes by in a flash and a blur. And I think this time, I kind of knew everything that was going to happen. So when it did happen, I just tried to soak it all in. And you just maybe appreciate it a little bit more.
And then the anticipation is, who's he going to hand it off to? Who's going to be the first player to get it?
Dustin Brown skates with it, and we'll see who does he hand it off to first.
I handed it to Reg, and it was a pretty easy decision. He had been in the league for a very long time, a veteran guy. Came within 1 game of winning the Stanley Cup in '04 with Calgary, and he is the veteran guy in our team that hadn't won a cup. To pass it to a guy who's never had it before is a really unique and cool experience.
It was very emotional when Dustin handed the cup off to me because I had been so close and had failed. It was something where I almost started bawling when he handed it to me because it was just something I'd waited for so long.
I remember talking to Robin. He said, I've been chasing this thing for, I think it was 15 years, he said, or 16 years he's played in the league. And at that moment, it kind of hits you, how privileged I was to be in that position twice now. And there's guys that never won it.
When I skated around, I came around and looked for Marian Gaborik because he'd played a significant amount of games and had not won the cup either, like myself. And he was just as excited as I was, if not more, and away he went.
They both have been around for a really long time, and it's very humbling, from a personal standpoint in terms of me being fortunate enough to have won twice already in my career is a pretty cool moment.
Stoley and I talked before that we wanted to give it to each other, and since coming over here from Edmonton, playing together for a long time together, so it's such a good feeling to be able to share that with him, since we've been through a lot, been through 2 different teams together. It's a real special bond I think I'll have with him for the rest of our lives.
The best feeling in the world. It's maybe a little bit better this time around. It's so, all the work we put into it, it was such a battle. They're both great, but it's the hardest thing that we had to do, and we did it.
To be able to do that lap and hoist the cup is one of the best feelings that I've ever had in my life.
You're convincing yourself that you've won the thing, and you're about to lift it. It's kind of a flood of the emotions and all the people that have put effort into it, all the people along the way who've supported you. To get the first chance with that thing, it's I can't speak eloquently enough to paint a picture that's worthy of the moment. I really can't.
What's it feel like? Unbelievable. It's I don't know. It's just can't put it into words. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I can remember standing there this time, and I think I saw more and took in way more than I did the first time.
Once you've won it or once you've lost it, it takes on a whole different, it's not a celebration thing. It's like, it's good to see you again. It gives me shivers talking about it because it's like somebody you haven't seen for a while and that you really care for.
Well, each Stanley Cup is equally unique, but I think what we went through this time around and how many games we played and how many Game 7s we played and how many times our backs were against the wall really shows our true character and really made it feel like we really earned it. It felt great.
we take a lot of things for granted. I've been in the Kings organization 15 years as a color analyst, and I've been very fortunate to sit in one of the best seats in the house, and that's alongside Nick Nixon.
Bob's a true professional.
He gets cut off there. Kopitar still with it. Passing down.
He wants to capture the moment.
Pritchard still with it. It rolls away, and St. Louis clears it out.
I have the best seat in the house every game because I'm sitting beside Bob.
Welcome to Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. The Kings lead the series 3-1.
Before the game, same as in 2012, I had written down a little thing I was going to say if the Kings won it at the end of the game.
I was thinking about what I would say if the Kings got it to a position of winning another Stanley Cup.
Kings win tonight. They win a Stanley Cup championship for the second time in 3 years.
In 2012, I had all kinds of time to realize I'm going to say this because the Kings are ahead 6-1.
I mean, it was a foregone conclusion, so everybody could kind of pace themselves.
The Los Angeles Kings are indeed the Kings of the National Hockey League.
After 45 years, the Kings can wear their crown.
2014, different situation. Double overtime. Are the Rangers going to win? Are the Kings going to win? I had my little piece written down there.
Once it got to overtime, I knew I don't know how the next goal is going to be scored. I don't know if the Kings are going to score it, but if the Kings do score it, okay, this is what I'll do. And hopefully it's something that is meaningful for a few years to come.
Picked up by Martinez.
Here on the left side, Martinez.
Martinez to Clifford.
Martinez over to Clifford.
Right side to Foley with a shot.
Save, rebound, score! Kings win the cup! Martinez getting the rebound. The Kings have won the Stanley Cup.
Alec Martinez has won the Stanley Cup for the Los Angeles Kings.
After I recap the fact that Martinez scored the goal and the Kings won the cup, royalty reigns again in the NHL.
And royalty reigns again in the NHL.
Nick's call was very special. Words unbelievable came out. I don't know how many different words he used to describe that particular goal by Alec Martinez.
The Kings have won their second Stanley Cup in 3 years.
There was a silence between each and every one of the words, and you could tell that he was not only enjoying the moment, but he was also processing what he was going to say.
The Los Angeles Kings have won the 2014 Stanley Cup.
I was jumping around for at least 2 or 3 minutes. I just kept jumping up and down, up and down, up and down because I was caught up into it. Probably I let the moment take me over, and Bob's right there. He's in the moment, but he is capturing it.
The Kings in the longest game in their history win it 3-2.
Later, I got to say what I had written down. Royalty reigns again in the
National Hockey League. For the second time in 3 years, the Los Angeles Kings have ascended to the throne. The Kings are the 2014 Stanley Cup champions.
Ironically, listening to my call later and Nick Nixon's call on radio, the first line was exactly the same. And we don't compare notes. We both said,
royalty reigns again in the National Hockey League.
Royalty reigns again in the NHL.
Shortly after the series ended, Bob looks at me and says, "Hey, we both said the same thing." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Yeah, at the end of the game when we won, we both said the bit." And I jokingly said, "Bob, you finally got it right, huh?"
What a great feeling. And in my mind, I'm just thinking of all of the years that this team, the Kings, really struggled to win, struggled to get some kind of notoriety in Southern California, some recognition, and now here they were winning twice in 3 seasons.
I finally ended up hugging Bob, and I said to Bob, "I've only hugged you twice, but..."
Only hugged you twice, but they've been important.
I've been broadcasting hockey games pretty much my whole adult life. We've all heard the adage, patience is a virtue. Maybe it was to be that way for me, where I get in all the practice, see all the different scenarios, and when it does finally happen, I'd like to think most of the time you get it right.
What you want to do if you're doing play-by-play is put that enthusiasm and energy into each and every telecast.
Score! Kings have won the Stanley Cup.
Very rewarding is how I can sum up my job, my role as a broadcaster in hockey for now close to 40 years.
And royalty reigns again in the NHL. For the second time in 3 years, the Los Angeles Kings have ascended to the throne. The Kings are the 2014 Stanley Cup champions. Royalty reigns again in the National Hockey League. The Kings are the 2014 Stanley Cup champions.
You know, the cup passing is very special, but it's a very traditional thing. But once you get back in our locker room with a cup and our guys, that's when it's time to celebrate. That's the best part for me is getting a chance to actually celebrate. It's a lot of guys that work really hard together, but that right there in the locker room, having a few beers, spraying champagne, that's the reason why you do it.
I really understand the importance of that dressing room. You know, those guys, they're out there, they're taking the hits, they're putting everything on the line. It's 100% their time to enjoy. It was great to see, you know, the excitement from the young to the old. It's a pretty special time.
It's the guys. It's the guys that you've been through all the ups and the downs of the season. The culmination of all that, and then getting to where we were, and that's being a part of a championship team. It just makes it that much more special.
You realize what you just went through, and it's all worth it. Every single step, every single series and goal and save, and it's all worth it for that reason, to celebrate with your teammates. That's a very special feeling, a very special moment that we'll always remember.
It's just pure joy, really. There's champagne spraying, there's beer spraying, you name it.
Yeah, I mean, the champagne flying everywhere, like, stings your eyes so badly. I mean, it's like one of the worst feelings. But I mean, I'll gladly take a champagne bottle to the face after a Stanley Cup win.
Oh, burned. The champagne, that's the hard part. When you got 4 or 5 champagne bottles spraying you, is which way you kind of want to hide. But again, you want to be soaking in.
You don't have much of a choice when they shove the cup of champagne in your face. You're pretty much on your way.
I know 2012 we sat back too in the dressing room, and this time around we did the same thing. We just sat in our equipment and soaking wet, champagne all over us, and we did it again.
To me, it's one of the purest moments in sport. You're soaked in sweat, you're soaked in beer, you're soaked in everything that goes into it. It's just a pure moment of accomplishment.
Think about this year, you guys got Game 7, went to the finals. We said we were going to have to go through one place, so we did, because you're freaking awesome. Never forget it, because it's like a circle. The rest of your life, you always have it. Take care of each other. Take care of each other, right? And the rest of your life is
To be able to really share that moment with the guys, and you know, that's the best thing about winning something like this. This is to be able to share that moment with the people that you really care about.
The Kings. Today, fans lined the streets of downtown LA for a Stanley Cup victory parade. Tens of thousands came out, and some very, very early this morning.
400, 500,000 people, and going down the 110. And coming through Figueroa, and very, very cool, special feeling. And that's one feeling that you'll never, ever forget. You know, when you play the game, you play to win, obviously, but you also play for those parades and to show your fans, you know, the trophies, and you know, do it for them.
I remember talking to the players and everybody and saying, look at the people, like how many people there was, and just take it in a little bit more. And I think everybody did that.
It's fun. It's fun to see people in Kings jerseys and real fans. And then I think the best part about it, though, is we pulled up to a construction site, and there's 2 big cranes. You know, they're honking the horns, but then also you see all the construction workers, you know, waving and having a good time. You realize that it's, you know, the whole city's, you know, behind us.
Shutting down LA streets here for a little bit and doing our Stanley Cup parade, so it's pretty cool to see the appreciation and support.
Probably the first chance to really have my family involved in that moment. They were able to join us at the start of the parade and then go through the parade on the buses and have the kids kind of be on the inside looking out as opposed to in the stands looking down on the ice.
I just want to thank all you guys for coming out. What we're doing on the ice and what you guys are doing in the stands, this Los Angeles community is starting to become a hockey town. We got to continue to do our part, and you guys are doing awesome on your part. I just want to thank you all.
My 3 boys were picking up all the confetti and putting it back in the blower when we're lifting the cup on the truck with all the confetti. That's when you really kind of have an appreciation for how much goes into it.
I love waving my fists and waving to everybody and getting everyone excited, and it's just a great time and a celebration of the year, and I'd love to have a parade every year.
It was a second celebration fit for Kings. The Stanley Cup champs enjoying another parade today.
This one on their other home turf, the South Bay, where virtually all of those players live.
The South Bay parade was very unique and very cool for the players, and I think partly because that's where we live. That's our community.
Oh, Kings, go. There you go. Look at the forecheck. I like that. Look at the forecheck. Great job,
The fans are from EU away, so it made it much more intimate.
This guy's a good bike rider. Hey, pop a wheelie! Pop a wheelie! Oh! He almost went down.
2 very different events, even though they're both parades done almost the opposite, which made it actually really unique.
This has got to be the first time Stanley Cup parade is being shadowed by a Coast Guard cutter.
That parade was definitely intimate. You could see people's faces. You're right next to them, and you can high-five them, and you can wave to the kids. And I thought it was a great parade, and it was a heck of a turnout, too.
You could say hi to people that you knew along the way and have kind of quick little conversations.
MVP! There we go.
We rounded the corner for the first, leaving Redondo, and I saw one of my neighbors out there on the sidewalk. I'm like, oh, this is going to be... You're gonna know somebody every 10 feet. Going right down the Strand in Hermosa, you've seen everybody that you knew, everybody that you hang out with, neighbors, people that you see at the grocery store.
People playing beach volleyball and surfing and paddleboarding, and then all of a sudden we're out there with the Stanley Cup, and there's thousands of people out there, and I think way more people than we expected. And we were all blown away by that experience and that support.
I think for me, the moment that made it very, very special is the fact that we were able to pull off 2 parades in this town. When you think of LA, and no one could ever believe that we'd probably get away with 1 parade, and next thing you know, we did 2, and they were both very, very successful.
Well, each Stanley Cup is equally unique, but I think what we went through this time around, and how many games we played, and how many Game 7s we played, and how many times our backs were against the wall, really shows our true character.
The Sharks are eliminated after leading 3-0.
They become the 4th team ever in NHL history to be down 3-0, and they win it.
They did so many things that have never been done before in 2014. The Game 7s on the road, the trailing by 2 goals in so many games. They were almost put on the brink time after time.
On the spot in a Game 7 again.
If you realize 7 times in the playoffs, if the Kings lose the game, they're done. 4 times against San Jose, 2 times against Anaheim, 1 time against Chicago.
Martinez with a shot, tipped, score! Remarkable! Incredible! Unbelievable!
It'll be difficult for all that to happen again in 1 year. I mean, there's pieces that'll get broke individually, but it's very rare that would happen again.
It speaks volumes to the core or the leaders on that team to be able to pull in that direction from all the different adversities they could face during the playoffs.
Save is made by Lundqvist, who was trickling behind him.
How that puck does not propel forward, it's unbelievable.
After Game 4, we had to fly back from New York. I saw guys with compression pants, ice packs, stitches, everything imaginable. And I said to the coaches there, I said, it looks like Gettysburg back there. You can't imagine how banged up so many of these players were. 4 of these players had significant surgery when the playoffs were over, and never a peep out of them. Their whole focus wasn't on being hurt, it was getting ready for Game 5. And when I see that cup, I think of the price these guys paid.
For me, it was eye-opening to see just to what level guys could push themselves. After we'd won, guys could hardly stand up, they were so tired. They were totally exhausted.
We played 26 out of a total possible 28 games. When you put it in that light that you could have only played 2 more, it was the size of it became really obvious, and it was one of those wow moments.
In 2012, the Kings set records because they dominated. They had a 3-0 lead in every series, never been done before in the history of the league. They won 10 games on the road, never been done before in the history of the league. They played 20 games, 16-4. They set records because they dominated teams. 2014, they set records because they had to fight and claw in every series.
Well, I joked with Dean right after we won. We just like to set records when we win. And we knew we were going to beat the records that way, so we figured we'd make some records the hard way.
You always remember who you win with, and you always remember who you're champions with. And this is a special group, and I want to, continue to write history as we go here.
Martinez to Clifford, feed to the right side, to Foley with a shot, save, rebound, score! The Kings in the longest game in their history win it 3-2. And royalty reigns again in the NHL. The Kings have won their 2nd Stanley Cup in 3 years.
This time around, honestly, felt more special to me because of the path that we had to go down, the teams that we played, the ups and downs, the adversity, coming back from within series, coming back from within games. Just the drama of it felt like a more poetic run, and it was something I'll never forget.
I'm extremely proud to be a member of the leadership corps, but there's 10 guys on this team that have worn letters or should wear letters. It's probably the easiest job in the league is to be a leader on this team.
We know that we have a special group in here, and you can't say enough about how much the guys care about each other. And when you have guys that can play the way they do and they love each other, that's a pretty deadly combo.
What we have accomplished together, I think it's not about any one individual. We all are pushing for each other to succeed. and as a result, we've won 2 championships. But the other side of it is we've been able to stay together, and we will continue to stay together over the next 4, 5, 6 years as a core group of guys that have won 2 cups, and I think that goes a long way in what makes us special, but also what allows us to compete for a Stanley Cup in the future.
And a lot of guys are going into the prime of their career. We have a lot of guys that are in their mid-20s, early 20s, mid-20s. I'm probably an old guy, and I'm 32 years old, and I think I'm the 3rd oldest on the team at 32. It's still pretty young, and there's a lot to look forward to, I think.
Dean has this thing with a couple of the players, and you know, we get the playoff rings and the championship rings. You know, what's your favorite ring?
Which one's your favorite ring? The next one.
It's always the next one.
I remember having meetings with Dean. You know, I was an older guy at the time, and he's like, this is what I want the franchise to look like. And then to step away for 6 or 7 years, come back in it and see it all working in that way, you know, to me it was pretty amazing.
When I think about these teams, it's just how much they have taught me. I just wish I could have been around this group of guys. And I'm talking, you know, right from the top, and Dean and how he sets the tone, and you got Daryl Sutter, a coach that knows Dean, and how Daryl sets the tone and atmosphere on a game day. I just wish I could have been on a team like that.
It's a testament to how the team was built by management. It was built not for a one-and-done scenario. It was built for the big picture, the long term, and hopefully what we've seen so far the last couple of years with 2 cups in 3 seasons is just the beginning of the big picture.
I think years from now, looking back to the first 2 cups in LA, this was a turning point in the Kings organization.
Well, I don't think we're done yet. We have such a strong core in our locker room, and a lot of people say, well, you know, they won't want it as much. They had it twice. Well, I couldn't disagree more. I mean, I think it makes you hungrier, and I think that guys want to continue to do this.
The more you win, the more you want to win, and that goes a long way in our future. You know, I'm not setting records. I'm not scoring 500 goals. My career will be viewed in how we do as an organization, not only the last 2 championships, but what we do in the next 5. At the end of the day, it's trying to figure out a way to get my name on there a 3rd time.
To have your name on that is something that, you know, no one can ever take away from you, and, you know, eventually it's something that you can show your kids, your grandkids someday that, you know, my name's on there twice.
When you see your players doing that, they're motivating us now. Generally, it's always been coaches and management motivating its players. Well, when you see something like that, and you're a scout or you're a coach or you're a general manager, and you're not motivated to work harder, then you got something wrong with you. And you talk about the evolution of a franchise. It's pretty special when those 20 guys now motivate me, and that's what I'll remember most about this cup. And that's my Stanley Cup moment.
Loyalty reigns again in the National Hockey League. For the 2nd time in 3 years, the Los Angeles Kings have ascended to the throne. The Kings are the 2014 Stanley Cup champions.